Hopefully you've already learned how to multiply binomials. In this video, I'm going to talk about two different types of special products that we have with binomials and how it might make life go a little bit faster when you're working with them. I'm going to start by just doing FOIL with this one. If you remember, FOIL's first, outside, inside, last. So my first are x times x squared. My outsides are x times 3, which is 3x. My insides are negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x. And then finally my negative 3 times a positive 3, which is a negative 9. And then when I combine like terms, I go, check this out. They both cancel each other out. And my final answer is x squared minus 9. This is a special. Now look at the actual problem that we have here. You'll notice that they have some things in common. They both have an x and a 3 as their terms, but one is a negative and one is a positive. So this is called the product of a sum and difference. The product of a sum and difference of the same two terms is the difference of their squares. In other words, square the first one, square the last one, and put a minus sign between them, and you're done. You gotta love it when there's a shortcut. So let's try 4 of these. And anytime I encourage you to pause the video, try some on your own, and then see if you are right. All right, let's start with the first one. First term squared, so x squared. Last term, 5 times 5 is 25, and put a minus sign between it. Boom. Next one. X times x squared. 9 times 9, 81. Put a minus between them. Next one. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 1 times 1 is 1. Put a minus there. And then finally, 6x times 6x is 36x squared. Y times y is y squared, and put a minus. You're always putting a minus in there. How is that for cool and fun? All right, let's look at the next special. All right, here's a new type of special. When you see a binomial squared, that just means the binomial times itself. And I'll bet you right now you're probably going, oh, I know what this is going to look like. It's going to be the same as the other thing, except there's going to be a plus sign in the middle. And you're not right. So let's see what actually happens. I'm going to use FOIL again. So I'll have x times x, and then I'll have x times 5 is 5x. Then I'll have another 5x for the insides, and the last is going to be 25. And you notice that this time, they don't cancel each other out. They double each other. Now remember that double because it's going to become important later on. So this is going to become x squared plus 10x plus 25. Well, is the same thing going to happen if I have a minus sign in there? Let's take a look at that. So x minus 5, x minus 5. And this time it's going to be first, outsides, insides, last. And again, these are not canceling each other out. In fact, we're taking the negative 5x and we're doubling it. So x squared minus 10x plus 25. Let's take a moment to see what they do have in common. When we started, they both had an x and a 5 as their terms. When we finished, we had x squareds, we had positive 25s, and then we had 10x's, but one of them was positive and one of them was negative. In fact, the only difference we see here between these two answers is the plus sign here and the minus sign here, and they correspond with the plus and minus in the original binomial. All right, let's look at the definition. Okay, this special is called the square of a binomial. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take the first term and you're going to square it. So I'm going to take my a and I'm going to square it. Then you're going to take both terms, multiply them. So a times b would be ab. And then double that. And that's where your 2 comes from, 2ab. And that's where you have here. And then finally, you're going to take your last term and you're going to square it and put it at the end. That's it. You do want to make sure that you notice that whatever this sign is going to be in front of the second term. But your last term is still going to have the plus sign. All right, let's do some practice with this. Once again, if you want to stop the video at any time and practice out on your own, that's perfectly fine. All right, let's look at here. What is the first term squared? X squared. And then what's x times 9? 9x. Double that, 18x. And since that's a plus in the middle, I'm going to have a positive 18x. And then what is 9 squared? 81. There we go, we're done. Next one, what is 5x squared? Well, that is 25x squared. What's 5x times 4? 20x. Double it. Now we have 40x. And then the last one, 16 squared is just, 4 squared is just 16. Okay, now for the bottom row. We have x as our first term, so x squared. And then we have negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and then double that, so negative 4x. And then finally, 2 squared is 4. All right, last one. If you haven't stopped and tried it on your own, try it now. Okay, 3x times itself is just 9x squared. And then 3x times negative 10 is negative 30x. Double that, negative 60x. And then finally, 10 squared is 100. Okay, now it's your turn to see if you can identify which one is which and use the correct rule. So pause the video, do this, and then come back and see if you have the right answer. All right, did you notice the first one was actually the second type of problem we showed, the square of a binomial? So I'm going to do 2x squared, which is 4x squared. Then I'm going to multiply 2x times negative 4 is negative 8x. Then I'm going to double it, negative 16x. And then 4 times 4 is 16. All right, the next one is the product of a sum and difference. And this one we're just going to do 2x and square that. So we're going to get 4x squared. We're going to take the 4 and we're going to square it. We're going to get a 16. We're going to put a minus in there and we're done. Now I got to tell you, you actually don't have to memorize these rules to be able to do multiplication of these types of binomials. However, there are two advantages. If you do learn these rules and memorize them, you're number one, going to be able to do these types of problems faster. And number two, when we do something called factoring and factoring special binomials, it's going to be a lot easier if you already know the rules. All right, go practice and have some fun.